Would you look at the type of day we having today? Look at that. Look at all that. Yeah. So, it's walk time. We're going for a walk. And with these walks, I take one of my books here, Audible app.
Stephen Covey.
I start you with a first chapter. It goes in my pocket.
Next up, a personal achievement tip from Zig
And we go
Ziglar.
for a walk, baby. Oh, Zig
Now,
Ziglar?
you take the character base, you take the right attitude, you build it on character. Well, the question is to understand this. For a permanent performance built on character, it's important because character gets you out of bed. Commitment moves you to action. Faith, hope, and discretion and discipline enable you to follow through to completion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's important. Well, how do you build character? Well, it's something you can be taught. I've been privileged to serve on the honorary board, the national board of the Boy Scouts of America for 5 years. And I want to share with you why I think that's so important. If I were a single parent today, I'll absolutely guarantee you, particularly if I were a single mother, I would
see this
have
car
my
on
boys
all my
in the
walks.
Scouts.
Maserati
If I
me.
was a single father, I'd have my boys in the Scouts. I well remember on Thursday night, Yazoo City, Mississippi, how many times I stood up and said, on my honor, beautiful word, I will do my best, oh boy, isn't that important, to do my duty to God and my country, and obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. That's self-talk, talking about character. A Scout law is so important. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. The Scout motto is be prepared. They told us over and over, every day do a good deed. Now, what are the benefits of that? Well, let's look at some of the benefits.
That a good dog.
In scouting 5 years, 98% of them, according to the Harris poll in 1995, finished high school. 40% finished college versus 16% out of the general population. 33% earned $50,000 a year or more versus just 17% of those that did not get in scouting. I talked to Judge Elwin Wood up in Norman, Oklahoma several years ago. I was speaking up there. Judge Wood had been on the bench over 20 years. He said, Zig, I have never had a juvenile in front of me being charged with some kind of crime or misdemeanor who had been in scouting a year or more. Not even one. Does character count? Do those qualities count? I believe with all my heart that yes, indeed, they do count, and they count big time. 94% of these kids said that what they learned in scouting affect their values all of their life. So what is it that everybody wants? Happy, healthy, rich, with prosperous, and secure. They want to have friends, peace of mind, good family relationships, and hope that the future's going to be better. And they need to love and be loved. Now, to get all of these things, you got to deal with all of yourself. You got to be the right kind of person. You got to do the right thing in order to have all that life has to offer. So important. You see, when we talk about character and integrity, with integrity, you do the right thing. That means there's no guilt. With integrity, you have nothing to fear because you've got nothing to hide. Now, as a practical matter, think about it just for a moment. When you take fear and guilt off your back, doesn't it just make sense that that frees you up to be your best self and do your best work without fear of being found out and that sort of thing? We got to deal with your personal life, your family life, and your career. We got to look at the financial, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual if we're going to have all that life has to offer. Now, can we have it all? For so long, we've had people saying, when you take fear and guilt, now to get all of these things, you got to deal with all of yourself. You got to be the right kind of person. You got to do the right thing in order to have all that life has to offer. So important. You see, when we talk about character and integrity, with integrity, you do the right thing. That means there's no guilt. With integrity, you have nothing to fear because you've got nothing to hide. Now, as a practical matter, think about it just for a moment. When you take fear and guilt off your back, doesn't it just make sense that that frees you up to be your best self and do your best work without fear of being found out and that sort of thing? We got to deal with your personal life, your family life, and your career. We got to look at the financial, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual if we're going to have all that life has to offer. Now, can we have it all? For so long, we've had people say, well, you know, the bad guys make all the money. And it is true that you can own the big house, the luxury cars, the luxury vacation. You can get all of those things without a lick of character. But you can't get any of the things that money won't buy without character. And the evidence, the financial, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, if we're going to have all that life has to offer. Now, can we have it all? For so long, we've had people say, well, you know, the bad guys make all the money. And it is true that you can own the big house, the luxury cars, the luxury vacation. You can get all of those things without a lick of character. But you can't get any of the things that money won't buy without character. And the evidence is in that the good guys, the good gals, those who play it straight at the end of the road not only have all the things that money will buy, but all the things that money won't buy.
As Zig shows, it's never too early to start building character, and the benefits last a lifetime.
That's me putting it on Snapchat, me putting it on Instagram.
Now it's time for another edition
Another
of
one.
Insiders.
I hope you guys can hear, but this is meant to be more therapeutic. If you want to actually listen to it, you can get any of these audio books. I got Audible app. Just search Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale, Napoleon Hill. Let's get to it.
I'm very especially blessed to be with the person sitting across from me right now. While you can't see him, you'll certainly feel his genuine energy in his voice as we start this interview. His name is Joe Caruso. On a personal note, I want to say this to all of our Nightingale Conan customers right now, that what I appreciate most about Joe is the fact that he comes from a place of integrity.
Lots
and
of
comes
cows
from a
back
place
there.
Of sincere belief in the material he talks about. He strives to walk his talk every day. Joe Caruso was only 18 when he lost control of his life in a dramatic way. He was diagnosed with an incurable cancer and decided to commit whatever short time he had left to studying life and learning what he calls the simple, common, timeless human truths. After radical experimental chemotherapy and 4 major surgeries, Joe became one of the first people cured of advanced testicular cancer. Today, Joe teaches how, in the most devastating of circumstances, to make true transformation while finding power, peace, and meaning in the process. In his work, Joe provides clear and simple ways how others can do that too. And in his new Nightingale Conan audio program that will be released just shortly, Joe will be teaching some of the same lessons we'll be talking about in this interview in much greater depth. For the decades since his diagnosis, Joe has kept his commitment to studying life, and in doing so has become one of the most respected authorities on human development and transformational thinking. Joe, I want to welcome you to Insiders today, and I want to thank you again for taking your message to the public.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate the honor of being here. When I was a younger man, I listened to a lot of Nightingale Conan tapes, and I'm just absolutely flabbergasted that I'm sitting here right now in these studios having a chance to share this information with your listeners.
Many a great speaker and authority has sat behind this very microphone, but I think this is going to be a unique experience because your story has so much to do, is so reflective of your content. Really, you've had to live this out at a young age before most people would ever be faced with much of the material we're going to talk about. Could we start there? I've just shared a bit of your story with our listeners. What was it like going through that experience of what they call incurable cancer, in quotes, because we all know that you're sitting here with us, which is a testimony to you. What were the emotions you went through at that time, and how was that a springboard in many ways for developing this idea of strategic surrender that we're going to be talking about?
It's a great question. You know, when you're 18 years old and you're full of life, and life is full of promise, you have the luxury of energy, I guess is the best way for me to say it. And when all of a sudden you're told your life has no future promise, and the chemotherapy and the surgeries and the sickness take away almost all of your energy, you start to recognize that energy is in fact a luxury. And I started to recognize the fact that life is basically energy in time. If we have time, we're alive. If we have energy, we're alive. What defines our life is how we focus that energy over time and in time. And so I guess the biggest realization for me, and I had many, but I guess the biggest one for me is to understand everything that I thought I could have in the future. More happiness, marriage, wisdom, the wisdom of age. You know, I was getting the wisdom of age basically stolen from me. I would never have the wisdom of age. You know, your listeners are listening right now to this, and they're as old as they've ever been, you know, and they're as wise as they've ever been. And a lot of that wisdom comes from the passage of time that they've experienced. And I wasn't going to have that, so I committed to studying. I committed to learning what life was, and I committed to not wasting my energy on things I couldn't control. Not because I was smart, but because I didn't have a choice. I no longer had that excess energy.
That's amazing. So it's almost like the disease in some ways acted like, I think of it like a sifter. You know, when kids do that on the beach, they take up some sand in a sifter and they sift through for the shells and the rocks and kind of the things. It's almost like you allow just automatically all of the non-essentials to just drop through that sifter, and you only focus on what's important.
That's a good analogy, a good visual, because I've heard a lot of people talk about letting go and surrendering and so on. The concept of strategic surrender is different than just letting the world happen around you. You know, ambition is important. Finding out our capacities in life is important. Using our great gift of free will that we have and directing it towards that which we aspire is one of the greatest aspects of being human. And to surrender and let go, to me, is not an attractive concept if it means precluding all of that. But strategic surrender, the art of focusing your energy on what's important, is not just saying what's important, well, my family or my health, but what is it that I really want? What we really want is we really want our meaning. We want to be happy. Right? We want to be happy with ourselves. We want to understand ourselves at the highest level. What drives our thoughts and emotions? We want to know how to rein in the negativity in our lives and overcome that. Then when we can do that, we'll find that as a byproduct of those efforts, the things we were looking for will be with us. And we won't have let go of really anything other than this myth that we could actually control that other stuff anyway.
Great. Now, central to this idea of strategic surrender, what's really helped me is this idea of primary and secondary worlds. And in being able to surrender things and deciding what to be strategic about, what to surrender, talk about those two worlds and how basically you need to surrender those things that are in the secondary world. I think that's a great concept.
Sure. And again, when we're talking about surrender, I'm not saying let go of anything you want. I'm saying surrender to get everything you want. And I'm not saying surrender to lay back on your bed and go, oh my gosh, I'll just lay here and meditate and then the universe will make it happen. No, that's not what life's about.
Right.
Otherwise, God wouldn't have given us free will and capacities and so on. The concept of the primary and the secondary world is simple. We live in a primary world. Your listener right now is in his primary world, your primary world, having their own personal experience. And no other human being can get behind their eyes, know their stories, their experiences, their definitions, and their meanings, and process the world in that way. What I'm saying is we're born alone, we die alone, we live in the middle part, denial of those two facts. We long to make
It's gonna be a little too loud here. I'm about to start hitting a heavier traffic area of my city. Thank you for coming with me. Oh, snap. Don't get hit by cars, Ryan. Thanks for pulling up on the kid. It's been another one. I don't know. Should I keep it going? Should I just... I don't think you'll be able to hear too many cars, because I can't even hear it right now. And it's in my pocket. So, thank you much. I'm actually... If you're wondering where I'm going to get a gallon of water. I got a gallon right here. We've got this little windmill machine. I don't see cars for a while. We got a little windmill machine. It fills up a gallon of water for 35 cents. The one at Walmart only costs 30 cents, but Walmart is too far for me to walk. Regardless, Thank you guys. Keep tuning in. I think that I can make one of these every day, at least every good weather day, which the weather's gonna be nice for the next few months down here in Texas. Yeah, have a great one. Thank you. Much love. Adios. Hasta luego. Arigato. Namaste.